First business will be the three resolutions from the public hearings that we had at our last meeting. We only had one comment
For which one?
for the moratorium. They just wanted to know what the list was of the projects that we held up.
Okay.
So we gave them,
Okay.
and there were no other comments.
Okay. So you want me to go through these
Yeah.
in order here? All right. So under. Everybody hear me? Thank you.
Turn it a
Yep.
little bit more.
Yes, no, maybe.
Yes, there you go.
Let's go like this.
There you go.
And now everyone here. Thank you. First is under old business, A, authorize the placement of a stop sign at the intersection of Ayers Court and Olson Court at Frida. So this will be resolution of the Board of Trustees. Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Montgomery, adopting a local law 2025, we'll fill in the number later, entitled Local Law Amending Section 114-35 of the Village Code of the Village of Montgomery, creating stop intersections at Ayers Court and Frida Street, and Olson Court and Frida Street within the village. I'm not going to read each and every word of the resolution. They'll be available if anybody wants to see. Now therefore be it hereby resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Montgomery hereby adopts the local law number 7, entitled a local law amending section 114-35 of the Village Code of the Village of Montgomery, creating stop intersections at Ayers Court and Frida Street and Olson Court and Frida Street within the village. It's further resolved that the village clerk be, and she hereby is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting in the local law book of the Village of Montgomery, and to give due notice of adoption of said local law to the Secretary of State of New York. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by trustee Imbriani. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Carrillo. Is there any discussion? Any discussion of the board? Okay. Mr. Imbriani?
Aye.
Ms. Picarello?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
Okay. Carries one absent. Next.
Skip the same name, please, to change.
Sorry?
Thank you.
Can't hear.
Couldn't hear.
Okay, I was just going to the next one.
We just couldn't hear the deputy there.
Okay, the deputy mayor asked me to skip over B on the agenda, which is to move the November meeting, so we're going to go straight to C, which is authorizing a change in the speed limit on Boyd Street. Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Montgomery adopting local law entitled a local law amending section 114-37 the Village Code of the Village of Montgomery, establishing a maximum speed limit of 25 miles per hour on the entirety of Boyd Street within the village. These three local laws that we're talking about, by the way, there were public hearings at the last meeting. They were closed for public comment, but written comment was received by the board, eligible to be received by the board until, I believe it was October 15th. And one correspondence came in on the next one, but there was no correspondence on this, correct?
Correct.
And the three that we're talking about tonight are all classified as type 2 actions under SECR, meaning there's no environmental review that's required. Okay, it is hereby resolved by the Board of Trustees. They hereby adopt local law entitled Local Law Amending Section 114-37 of the Village Code of the Village of Montgomery, establishing a maximum speed limit of 25 miles per hour on the entirety of Boyd Street within the village. Further resolved that the village clerk be, and she hereby is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting, and the local law book of the Village of Montgomery, and to give due notice of the adoption of said local law to the Secretary of State of New York. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by
I'll second.
trustee Milton. Sorry, just second it.
Steve.
Okay, any discussion, Mayor? Sabina? Okay. Mr. Imbriani?
Aye.
Trustee Picarello?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor? Trustee Milton?
Aye.
Carried. Next, we have consideration of local law rescinding the moratorium within the village. Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Montgomery adopting local law entitled, "The Local Law Rescinding Local Law Number 5 of 2023 is amended by Local Laws Number 4 and 6 of 2024 and Local Law Number 2 of 2025, which established a moratorium prohibiting the approval of certain land development applications in the Village of Montgomery." Okay. And again, this is a type 2 action under the SEPA regulations. Public hearing is closed, kept open for written comment. And therefore, it is hereby resolved by the Board of Trustees that local law entitled, the following local laws adopted, local law rescinding local law number 5 of 23, as I said before, as previously amended. And be it further resolved that the village clerk be and hereby is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting and in the local law book of the Village of Montgomery, and to give due notice of the adoption of said local law to the Secretary of State of New York. Motion?
Make the motion.
Motion by trustee Picarello. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And trustee Milton Beach, Chair. Any discussion?
Yes, we have not discussed, although we possibly are in agreement to rescind the moratorium, what the timeline will be, with the water committee that was established, and to address what the long-term solution would be for the additional water source discussions that were part of the original moratorium and part of the suggestion by the county and state. So can we put a timestamp on that and be on the next agenda to discuss when that water committee will meet and what we'll be doing?
I think it probably should be, because all the department heads.
Darlene, can you talk into the mic, please?
Jake will be here at the next meeting, so we'll put it on the agenda for them.
Did everybody hear that? Okay. So it'll be on the next agenda to talk about that. Okay.
Any further discussion? Trustee Imbriani?
Aye.
Trustee Picarello?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor? Trustee Milton?
Aye.
Local law is duly adopted.
Deputy Mayor, do you want to go back to the
Yeah. Yeah, we just skipped it on purpose, so we can do all the local laws
Got
first.
it.
Okay, next we have a motion to move the meeting from November 4th to Village Hall on Monday, November 3rd, at 7:30 p.m. due to the elections. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Can I get a second? I'll second it. Stephen?
Aye.
Thank you. Randy?
For discussion, I don't think, I think we should keep the meeting consistent. And the people have asked to have it here, so I'd like to have it here. We can if we change it to the day after election. So. You don't have to,
You don't need-
everybody can share everything.
We can't be here on Wednesday.
Right, but we can still have a meeting without the
You
attorney.
can have it here, though.
Which RB will be here? Oh.
It was, for discussion, it was brought up by many residents, that it would not be a room enough for everybody. after we discussed it last time, so. Can we move it to the day after, the Wednesday?
Who suggested the third? I didn't.
Did you use the mics?
No, I believe that it was, we had originally suggested the third because the attorney was available.
So right now, the AHRB meeting, can you guys hear me? I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well. The AHRB meeting may be rescheduled to the 5th because we've had a cancellation. We can't do it the 10th because there's another meeting you guys are having the 10th, and we can't do this week, so it might be the 5th. So that's another discussion that has to be had.
What day is available to do the village board of trustees meeting?
You want to have it here, it has to be after the election.
So, the fifth, fourth is election night, right? So you could hear the fifth if you want.
We might just have a gap with me.
I have not.
I won't be able to attend both meetings.
She's the secretary of the AHRB, so someone would have to cover her. Or
Deputy,
we'd have to move their meeting.
deputy clerk will cover it if she can.
So we're changing the date to the
Fifth, here.
We have to republish the notice, just so you know.
we have time, yeah?
Yeah, it's just a date change.
Takes
Well,
longer than.
understood, we'll put it on the website as well.
Excuse me, we can't hear you.
Just to
The discussion is, I'm sorry,
Thank you.
the discussion is centering around what date everyone is available and when this facility is available to do the board meeting, because November 4th, which would be the normal scheduled meeting, is of course election night. This place isn't available. So it seems, if I'm hearing everyone, that you're talking about doing it here Wednesday, November 5th? Is that the discussion, Deputy Mayor?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so does someone want to make that motion?
At what time?
7:30.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Stephen?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
Aye.
So just so everybody understands, it's just rescheduled here, 7:30, Wednesday, November 5th. Okay?
I might have to publish it in a different paper to make the deadline, just so you know.
Fine.
Okay, moving on, events discussion, Tracy Casey and Lori Dahl.
It's still up to the board.
Yeah,
So
we're waiting to hear from you guys. Did anybody meet with them or?
No, I sent information out, and we've been emailing back and forth, and I received the responses today. There still has been no discussion with the deputy mayor or anybody else on the board yet, no.
So I just have a question. What is the holdup to approve an event for the village?
It's not approving the event, we're talking about operating procedures that
No,
we're trying to
we're
get
talking
done.
about approving an event, and then you guys could talk about your operating procedures, and then we'll refill, if we have to refill in a different form.
Most of these are third-party events that you wrote in your email, which just need board approval because the board, the village technically has nothing to do with it.
Right, in your description here that you sent out of events, it would be third-party events.
Right, so that was information I pulled from Nikon. So I wanted to discuss that with either one of you. I had time before the meeting today or any time this week, so just looking for feedback.
If
Back and
feedback
forth
is, I
with
would
that.
never fill this out in my life, and I've been catering and vendors for 16 years.
Or the form that you sent.
Never.
We don't understand, and it's not just for us, right? It's for anyone in the village who wants, anybody who wants to hold an event in the village.
No one would fill this out.
It's just some of your questions are like,
For example, you want to know, let me find it here. Sorry, I have the whole thing up there, so give me a second. You want to know, the event committee name and roles. Okay, so I get that you want to know who's having the event. What does their roles have to do with it?
So what I'm looking at is, the differentiation we have to make is, are you a federally registered 501c3, which your officers would be listed and on the form, and that would allow one tier, and then what
These
we're
are,
trying.
wait, but these are third party
Party
that
events
they send
that
to us.
basically-
It doesn't matter, if you're
It-
gonna,
it
if we're
does
gonna,
matter.
if
So
we're
this
going
is
to
a private
donate a
event.
space, we have to be able to
It's a
just.
park.
It's a park, it's
We
free.
don't donate the park, it's a park.
We're working on the actual gifting portion of Nikon, correct?
They put both of them in one event form, which shouldn't be. Shouldn't.
Right, so again, if we could sit down, have these discussions as to.
I will
and
not
it's-
sit
it's
down
not-
outside of the village board meeting, you know that, Cynthia, we've had this discussion, I will not. I do not work for the village, I am not part of the village board. Tracy and I donate our time. Your events form is your events form. We submitted our events form for the entire year, so either you approve it or you deny it. There's-
Okay, and at this juncture, again, the committee, we still have to get this information out, get approval from the
So
attorney.
this
and
is
do
May,
that. So-
June, July, August, September, October. We are
Since-
going into November,
And you guys
6
haven't
months.
had time to.
Six.
But anyway, the adoption event that you guys are having such a hard time deciding on is in a parking lot. So that's not rental, that's nothing. I mean, if I wasn't having vendors, I could just do it without your permission, because it's a public park. So, you know,
These would
That's
be
what
great
we're
conversations,
asking
I
this
wish we
question.
could have them together, you don't want to have them, again, we have to do our
But
procedures,
here's
and
the
that's what we're
time to
working on.
have the conversation, this is what this is
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
So I want to have the conversation, I will not meet in private or email any longer. I want to have this
Duly
conversation.
noted.
So here is the time to have the conversation.
Is there any feedback from the deputy mayor or trustee Viviani or the mayor on the outline of the three different, considerations? Sorry, I don't have any words right now. The three different,
yeah,
Okay,
what a village event consists of.
right.
You have it that the village pays for everything, that's not what the village event sponsor is.
but when we have a discussion and I submit something or anyone submits anything, it becomes a talking point at which we're supposed to provide feedback, come to a final draft, and then we vote on it and present it, and then that's the policy that creates the procedure for everyone to follow. So if there's no feedback, this is gonna continue to sit there and no one can have any of it. So we have to get to the point where we approve what consists and what doesn't need it, a third party, a joint, or a village event. What was listed there was what was gone over at a training with hundreds of people in the room. It wasn't my personal opinion, and we don't have to follow any of that, just like we don't have to follow the advice that the attorney gives us. It's up to us to decide. It's up to us to decide what we want to do, but we have to decide.
Can I ask a question
We have
here?
to move on.
Finish what you were saying, I just want to ask a question. I think we're potentially talking about two different things here. Conceptually, and I think we can work through the forms, who's paying for what. Is there any kind of conceptual problem with these events in the first instance?
There isn't, but this discussion has been on the books since May,
I
and
get
we didn't get information that some of us and the trainings
Okay,
feel that we should have a vote
That's-
to protect the village.
then perhaps the best way to approach this is to conceptually approve these events subject to finalization and receipt of all necessary information and paperwork, and then the board can decide who's paying what and how to categorize the event. But I think conceptually is what I'm
That's
saying,
exactly
is what I'm saying sensible to
I do,
what?
but I just have a question. So we held a food truck last year, the
Yeah.
festival, and the village did not pay for anything.
Yeah,
Tracy and I raised every single penny for that event.
sure.
So I do not want to change that. That is not a village event. That will never be a village event.
Right.
So why can't that be approved?
That's
What
exactly
I-
what he's saying.
Like
what I'm
everything's
saying-
the same.
That's what we're saying.
I may not have spoken as clearly as I should have. What I'm trying to get at, for purposes of moving this whole process forward, I'm asking if the board has any conceptual problem or question with these events, and then we can square, as, you know, they're far enough out, one's in December and the other two are in 2026, we should be able to square away any documents or anything like that before the events. That's what I'm asking the board, if anybody has a problem with these events. If they don't, we can get that piece put over here and work on the rest. That's what I'm trying to do.
I do appreciate that. Obviously, we have to move the Polar Express because the
And you
decision
guys-
wasn't made.
Do what you want. I mean, that's what I'm asking.
I didn't want to do this. This is a village event. This is my village. I've lived here and I lived in the town for 24 years. I wanted it here.
But all,
But we
No,
can't
I
wait.
understand.
We cannot wait for,
I understand.
I've put forth something that the board might be able to at least move part of this forward. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, don't. Your call.
We still have time, these events are in 26.
One
They're
of
the
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 next
point
week,
we're
right?
missing
To be
is
honest,
vendors.
April,
announcing it,
right.
prepping.
One is
This
this
is-
There's the breakfast is on here, I'm referring to these three.
Well, the
That's why I felt
breakfast
we had
is
time and that we could
The
discuss
breakfast
this
is
and work
on,
together.
Is this a
It's already
typo?
been advertised.
I'm sorry, is this a typo here? Is the Polar Express December 11th of this year?
So we had to move that one.
Okay, that one got moved.
Move it.
Okay.
Yeah, that was,
Fine.
so that's
So
for
the,
next
so
year.
we're just talking about,
That's the one that I should have wanted to propose.
So,
Fine.
I mean, I understand, I really don't understand what your guys' problem is with events in the village that bring the community together
There
and
is
so
none.
many people like.
There is
But
not.
the one that I do understand is in April. If you guys ever plan an event, you know that it takes a very long time. So that gives me 6 months to get, SPCA's here, vendors, the DJ, a couple food trucks. Like, so it's nice how it was for last year. I don't like to do things in 3 months.
Is this a Saturday or Sunday?
It's probably a Saturday.
So it will conflict with the Little League games going on.
But
I'll take care of that.
We have been in contact with the Little League as well.
Perfect. I think the only tripping point, if I'm speaking out of turn, is the use of the senior center. Is that what we're being held up?
And that is until December of next year.
I don't, my issue has never been, I've been asking to have this approved since May. On the agenda every single month. So I don't have an issue with any of the concept or any of the events. I don't care if you want to have, I shouldn't say I don't care. I'm supportive of a dog parade, of a kids parade, of all of the events. The issue is the information and categorizing it so that everyone knows what to expect. It's consistent across the board and the village ultimately is protected. That's the job. So
My feeling, if it's okay, my feeling is that we need to put these through and work out our own political crap, nothing personal, and not drag these into that. And I just feel like this has been politicized, and I don't want it to be that. I understand that we're not being responded to as far as getting information back, and I don't know how to make that happen.
Information back from
The board itself.
Okay. I'm just like, I'm the expert, I
This
think
is
about
not,
the
this is
session.
not a complaint with you guys. This is us trying to create a procedure
So,
that is
see,
consistent,
the issue
predictable.
I'm having is that these events all happened last year. Every single event that is on that form happened already. So where did the procedure change? We got the insurance, we got the liquor license, we got all the vendors, Health Department of Health, all their insurances. So where did the gap break that it's an issue this upcoming year? I guess is where I'm struggling
It's
with.
an ongoing issue that we have to standardize, inform, and how to get our information consistently from everybody. It's
Right,
been,
because these were such, because these were such great events, we want to make sure that we're doing it correctly. You can't put it against us that we're trying to
No,
follow
I'm
proper
not-
procedure and
I'm
trying
not
to
putting it
get
against
that.
you.
So I'm sorry that it is taking a little bit longer, it is getting kicked, but we have to figure this out. And it has not been.
last year was the first year under the new policy where everything was at the foundation. So it's a learning curve for us as far as liability coverage and things that we, in all good faith, said, yes, let's do this. We're finding out, not a great idea. Lawyers are saying, don't do that. And people are saying, why are you crazy? You guys are crazy.
They're saying don't have a food truck festival?
And nothing to do with food truck.
Oh,
It has to
okay,
do with,
I'm confused.
it has to do with insurance and liability.
But we had our own insurance, the village didn't.
Right, but there's parts of it where the village is still liable. So
We
if
covered the,
it's in a parking lot and something happens at your event,
but we
it's
mentioned you
covered.
guys as an additional insured, which was required by the attorney.
That's correct.
No, so we provided it.
Understood. What we're trying to do is just get some uniformity in the permits and all of the paperwork for the village. So every one of them is the same, your events, other people's events. What I'm trying to suggest for purposes of moving this forward tonight is if the board is conceptually okay with approving these events, subject to getting everything that we need, and a lot of that work has to be done by the side, and there's time to do it. That's all I'm suggesting, so we can try and move forward.
I am in agreement with you. My only request, I'm sure Tracy is gonna agree with this, is that we have a date that you respond, because 2 events, last minute, 3 days before the event, the village board changed their mind. That can't happen here. If we're advertising for an event, it can't happen. I'm sorry, Randy?
No, actually, it's probably
So,
Okay,
is there
but
a time?
if these are going to be approved,
And they can
subject to paperwork,
keep on
then you,
saying what
but
exactly.
they're not gonna be, it's not gonna be a rescission of that approval, they're gonna be approved. No, but you guys, what I'm saying is, someone can,
I'll make a motion then. I'll just make a motion that we approve these pending,
subject to
subject to, okay, great.
the appropriate documents being developed, given to the organizers, and then submitted back to the village with all appropriate
You
insurance,
guys good with that?
all appropriate fees, if any fees are due.
what is when will we let them know what the requirements are? When will we commit to approving the process so that they can follow it? And when is the due date?
That's up to
So that
the
they have it.
We have a work session on the 10th, we put that on the agenda for the work session.
It has to be done, because who's responsible ultimately if you don't give them a decision? It's 2 days before the event, you don't cancel it, and you don't have the correct liability back with it.
So there you go.
That's budget.
Or we can just put it on the next agenda and vote on it. We've looked at the same draft since May.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you making a motion, trustee Embriano?
Yes, I am. Subject to and all that good stuff. Can we just get this approved?
Do you, go ahead and make a motion?
I do. Do I need to word it out?
Would you like to make a motion to approve the Polar Express use of Senior Center for December 11, 2026, the adoption and vendor event for April 18, 2026, the Senior Center parking lot, and the Food Truck Festival event on June 20th, 26, the Park Fields and Senior Center parking lot, subject to the board completing the applications and permit applications that are necessary to properly document the event, to be provided to the organizers and submitted with all appropriate insurance and any fees that may or may not be payable pursuant to the permit applications.
I like how I said
What's that?
Yes.
Now we need a second. I'll second it.
It's for discussion. I know a lot of these are in the park for next year. I know, yeah, I'm sorry. I know a lot of these are in the park for next year. Can we also put a caveat on that, like if there's any near forward stuff going on, that might be, I don't know.
I don't know, sorry, but.
So,
Because again, these are for 2026,
Right.
that's all I'm asking.
Okay.
so New York Forward, just, I can't disclose too much because they're still trying to figure out the details.
Yeah.
However, they have shared that they have to sign contracts first with us, so they don't see any work actually being done until late 2026, if not early 27.
So the only one that might be affected is the Polar Express.
That's here.
But again, with
That's it.
constant
Perfect.
communication
You don't need
and
to
working
see
with
it.
that
Never mind.
information, I think it'll be-
Then yes, my motion.
Okay, I seconded it.
Okay.
So we finished the discussion?
And we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting for approval.
On November 5th.
Well, let's do this motion first, then you can confirm that. The motion's on the table.
Okay, Stephen?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Aye.
Ah,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I'd like to make a motion if I have to make sure that that is on the November 5th agenda for approval, which means that we will have to have discussions prior to the next meeting to come to some sort of agreement.
On the
And be prepared to
Have
have
procedures, absolutely, I agree. I'll second that.
Everyone should,
I have some.
everyone should review it and give their feedback, so if there are any changes, they can be made to the documents.
So I just have something to say with your procedures, this overview that you said you got from NICOM. As Darwin was saying, village-sponsored events. I understand what it says here, but when you guys go back and discuss this, a village-sponsored event to me, being I do the Breakfast with Santa and it's a village-sponsored event, the village donates the senior center and covers the insurance for the Breakfast with Santa. Everything else is me, Lori does the cooking, volunteers, I get the Santa, I get all the toys for the kids, we take care of everything else. So this village sponsor, you would definitely have to do something because no one in the village is gonna, you guys aren't gonna pay for everything because there's no budget. And nobody hardly ever comes to the event, so you guys aren't gonna work them. And I'm not saying you guys, meaning you guys, but I'm talking about village employees in the whole. And whatever else you had here, planning, promotions, promoting it, that right there just needs a whole overhaul. Because that's not, if you read it in the email I forwarded back, it's just not accurate.
Can you give your, even if you just redline it and pen, if you want to provide feedback so that we can get back to each other before November 1st, so we can be ready to move forward?
Just give it to me if you can.
Yeah.
Okay, we ready to move on? Next is new business. Approve the use of the senior center on Sunday, January 11th, 2025, at no charge by Cub Scout Pack 125 for their blue and gold ceremony.
So we already covered this one when we were
You didn't?
reciprocation.
Well, no, I made a motion and you seconded for it to be on the agenda, but we did not vote.
Vote on the motion being on the agenda. So she made a motion and I seconded it to put the motion of us getting back to them at the next meeting. So we have to vote on it.
Okay.
Aye.
aye.
Next meeting.
But this, still on hold business, authorize a discounted fee for the use of the senior center? Is that all gonna be wrapped in? That's all gonna, okay, thank you.
And thank you for including the reciprocation in time, that covered it.
Yes. Okay, so now we need a motion for that, for the Cub Scouts to use them.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Do
Steve?
we have anything, we have all their stuff on file, right, while we're.
They have it here.
Here. But we have an updated policy on file, correct, for them? Debbie?
They have submitted their initial policy, they have to update it to show that they have time.
While we're on that topic. Okay.
We need a roll call.
Is this inaccurate? Because it says January 11th, 2025. I don't think
That's
it's
2026.
That's what I thought. Just Make sure I got it. You're good.
Okay, we'll do a roll call. Stephen?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
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 Okay, carried. Okay, resolution for,
Yep, the tax exemption.
No, I'll admit being fuzzy on this. Is this our properties, our buildings?
Well,
Yes. It's a well property and it's within the town,
Got it, thank you.
outside the village limits. And let me read this and it'll explain. This one I'm gonna read the whole resolution, Deputy Mayor. Okay? Resolution of the Board of Trustees authorizing the treasurer to seek real property tax exemptions for property located within the town of Montgomery utilized to operate the village's water system. Whereas the village of Montgomery is the owner of real property in the town of Montgomery, identified as tax map 28-1-63. Whereas the above real property is devoted solely to public use and part of the village-owned water system as a site for water wells, chlorinator, or any associated equipment with the watershed. Whereas New York State Real Property Tax Law 4063 provides the authority for each taxing district in which municipally owned property used in such manner is located to grant a whole exemption from real property taxes levied by that taxing district. Whereas such exemption for the Village of Montgomery water supply site, real property, would provide a direct and immediate benefit for the taxpayers and water users of the village, would enhance real property ownership, encourage industrial and commercial development, and exemplify a spirit of municipal cooperation between the county and the village. Now therefore, it's hereby resolved by the Board of Trustees, on behalf of the village and its water system users and citizens, hereby petitions County of Orange and the town of Montgomery to grant a whole exemption from state, county, and town real property taxes commencing for calendar year 2027 for the parcel identified above and any additional properties that may be identified later when exemption as may be appropriate. And it's resolved that the mayor and the village attorney are authorized to attend such meetings of the Orange County Legislature and committees thereof as may be appropriate to aid and assist in the deliberations and this petition by that governmental body. What that means in English is, and this is a resolution that's being for every municipality in the county that has some of their well property or the water treatment property either in a neighboring town, like we have one in Port Jervis. There's some properties that the city of Port Jervis owns within the town of Deer Park. So you have to ask the legislature to grant the exemption in cooperation with that town. In this case, one of the village parcels is within the township of Montgomery, not within the village. So there has to be a procedure completed by the Orange County Legislature to petition to grant the exemptions so the village is not paying the town of Montgomery any tax on that property. In this case, it's only one parcel. So it's something that's done every year. And this is the time they have to have the resolutions in by December 15th from all the municipalities so they can get it on the legislative session, the last one of the year. And that is the situation. So is there a motion?
Make that motion.
Trustee Piccirillo, second.
I'll second.
Trustee Imbriani, any discussion? Trustee Imbriani?
Aye.
Trustee Piccirillo?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor?
Aye.
Trustee Milton?
Aye.
Carries.
Next, we have approve closing of the ARPA bank account and move the balance of interest in the amount of $224.73 into the general fund account.
I'll make that motion.
Is that allowed?
If someone will second for discussion, I will.
Second for discussion.
Okay. Because this is not actual ARPA funds, but this is interest earned on the ARPA funds, it can be moved into the general account. It's $224.73 that was earned on the ARPA funds that the village had before they were expended.
And they're completely depleted now in,
The ARPA funds have been expended.
okay.
This is just the only thing remaining in that ARPA account, which has all been accounted for at the state and the feds,
Right.
is this $224, and you can move it into general. So,
You guys had voted on the ARPA fund resolution when you guys first started, so everything's completed. That came from the interest that was earned.
Call vote.
Stephen?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
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 Next, we have adopt the county's hazard mitigation plan submitted by the village as approved by FEMA. And that is also.
yep. Resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Montgomery adopting a multi-jurisdictional, multi-hazard mitigation plan. Board, whereas the Board of Trustees of the village recognizes the threat and natural hazards posed to people and property within the village. Whereas the village is prepared a multi-hazard, mitigation plan hereby known as the 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan in accordance with the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000. And whereas the 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan identifies mitigation goals and actions to reduce or eliminate long-term risk to people and property in the village from the impacts of future hazards and disasters. Whereas adoption by the Board of Trustees demonstrates their commitment to hazard mitigation and achieving the goals outlined in the 2025 Hazard Mitigation. And therefore, it is hereby resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Montgomery hereby adopts the 2025 Hazard Mitigation Plan. It is further resolved that the plan approved by the community may be edited or amended after submission for review, but will not require the community to re-adopt any further iterations. This approval only applies to this specific plan and does not absolve the community from updating the plan in 5 years. And it is further resolved that the village clerk be and hereby is directed, that's it. So it's adoption of the plan. The plan was circulated by the clerk.
And this is an updated version from 5 years ago? We just, or this is brand new?
I believe this is updated.
I would say it's updated and elaborated.
Yeah, well, it was expanded. It's bigger than the last one. This is updated.
And who
Scott
created it?
Justina with the help of Jake, and they reviewed it.
So police department, DPW superintendent, and the village engineer have updated it from 5 years ago.
The village engineer updated the review.
Right.
Based on the FEMA Orange County plan, which is the one that all the different municipalities are adopting, which is my understanding, correct?
That is correct.
And then we will update it again with any improvements that we have made in 5 years. And just
If not sooner.
I mean, that's a lot.
If
That's a lot
something-
of information.
Was it?
An update could happen sooner.
Right.
It can happen any time. It has to be every 5 years, but if some new innovative methods of hazard mitigation are developed and shared by the county, we can certainly amend this.
And then, is this available online? Is there a link anywhere on eCode or on the website for residents to review this in case they have anything to add from their areas that have expertise, or the CAC or any of these other groups that want it?
Once the board approves it, which hopefully be in the next 38 seconds, then this can be put on the website.
Okay, great. I'll make a motion to approve that and put a link to it on the website so that the public can view it and provide us about for the next update.
And second,
Also,
trustee Andrea. Any further discussion?
I had just one question. I asked the deputy mayor and the clerk on page 7, where it lists critical facilities information. It's a critical and essential facilities located in the village of Montgomery. It has here listed that the high school is located in the village of Montgomery, which we all know that it's not. But I was assured that it's just there because we're allowed to use the facility. So as long as that's clear, okay.
Schools are generally areas of gathering or information sharing or sheltering during hazards or emergencies, so I think that's why it's there.
And this is mostly a plan for DPWs to work together to do.
Well, it's for all the departments.
police, DPW.
It's for all the departments, yeah. DPW, police, fire. all that. Any further discussion? Trustee Imbriani?
Aye.
Trustee Picciarello?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor? Trustee Nielsen?
Aye.
Carried.
Okay. Moving on, community concerns, Jenny Cole. You can take it off.
Oh,
Well, you can lower the thing very low. You can just angle the mic down.
I'm quite loud, okay. Good evening and thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Jenny Kohler and I live here in the village with my family. I'm here because I care deeply about our community, about the safety of our children, the peace of our neighborhoods, and the dignity and well-being of every person who lives here.
Little louder, please.
I can be loud, okay. Over the past several months, many of us have witnessed troubling activity in our area. Am I good?
Here, just take it.
Could you imagine I started singing?
Please address the board.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Okay, so my name is Jenny Kohler, and I live here in the village with my family. I'm here because I care deeply about our community, about the safety of our children, and the peace of our neighborhoods, and the dignity and well-being of every person who lives here. Over the past several months, many of us have witnessed troubling activity in our area. Repeated police visits, arrests, and most recently, evidence of drug use, including a broken crack pipe and a used hypodermic needle found near where our children wait for the bus. One of the homes in particular has become a growing concern. Multiple people are staying there, and there's heavy activity late into the night and early morning hours. In addition, a dog from that property, which is not kept on a leash, has attacked 2 leashed dogs being walked by their owners. During one of these incidents, the person responsible for the dog appeared too impaired to intervene and instead shouted at the victim. These incidents are deeply unsettling. As a parent and a neighbor, I'm concerned for the safety of our children and families who should be able to ride their bikes, walk their pets, and enjoy our streets without fear or danger. I want to be very clear. I recognize that addiction is a disease, not a moral failure or weakness. It knows no boundaries of race, ethnicity, or income. Too often, society judges people differently based on the substance they use or their income level. But the truth is that addiction can find its way into any home and can devastate lives regardless of background or circumstance. Those struggling with substance use deserve compassion, treatment, and a path toward recovery. But at the same time, our residents also deserve to feel safe. It is the role of leadership to ensure that both compassion and safety can coexist. I'm not here to assign blame, but to ask for collaboration and action. Could the village strengthen partnerships between local law enforcement, community outreach, and public health services? Can we ensure that discarded needles and drug paraphernalia are removed promptly, and that individuals in crisis are connected to real help before tragedy strikes? We can do both. We can protect our families while extending compassion. We can hold people accountable while honoring their humanity. My hope is that our village becomes a model for how small communities can respond to addiction with firmness, safety, and heart. Thank you for listening and for your ongoing efforts to keep our community safe, strong, and compassionate. Write up a formal statement with notes of everything I just said, and I included some photographs in case you don't believe me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the last thing on our new business is the mayor report discussion.
my surprise when I go down to the Little League field and there is a street being cut right through the field into the park. I was not aware of anything going on, and when I checked for minutes of that approval, they were unable to be found. Marion Court is been a place of problems in the area that the young lady just spoke about, and punching a hole into the park seems,
That's not.
no, different one,
Okay.
similar activities.
Just want to make sure, yes, there's two houses I know of. They're friends.
And I just think opening that up right into the park where the children play.
Yes.
6 months of the year, we have 500 to 600 kids in that exact area. And when I was trying to take a picture of the area, there were little children running back and forth through the construction site. There's the side of the hill's been cut away, which will, when I talked to Mark from CAC, and there's no way there's not going to be horrible erosion. The roots of the trees are exposed almost 8 feet tall. And this is just, in my mind, a travesty. There's no way this can continue to have that road pushed through the middle of the park. I would like to ask Steve Rossi, I know he's in the room, he's the president of Little League, so he has more information on the numbers of kids that are in that area literally on a daily basis for
I'd
half
like
the
to make a comment before you do that. That's been in the.
Sorry?
We can't hear you, we can't hear you. Sorry, just the mic. That has been in the village plans to extend that street for many years. It's not a recent thing.
Well, nobody could come up with any evidence of its approval, and why are we repairing the park right before New York Forward starts their work?
It's a very minimal thing. There's no cost involved. It's a
But there is
safety
cost.
issue. We need a second egress out of that park
There is a
because
cost.
of the number of people.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree on that, but
Well, we can disagree. That's fine.
I'm
thinking of the safety of the people in the park, the safety of the campers. If we have another,
The campers that are there 6 weeks.
Excuse
of the year.
if we have another way into the park for the people who want to go down to the river, the people that want to come in and play pickleball early in the morning, the people that want to go to the dog park early in the morning, it won't affect all the people that are dropping their children off at camp.
Yeah, I would still, since I brought this up, I would still like to listen to Mr. Rossi.
You can, I'm just
Okay.
explaining what, that it's
I
not,
understand
it
what
wasn't
your
a
thought is.
spur
I
of the moment
disagree-
decision. It's been,
disagree with the safety issue, because you're putting exposed 500 to 600 kids, who literally, 100 kids were sitting in there as the construction was going on, watching the ball game. And this is not an area, you want to put a road, you can have less than 6 feet on either side of this road between 2 ball fields. Where are the kids going to warm
we
up,
have
where are
no
they going to play?
idea, we have no idea what New York Forward is gonna do. I know there was a big cut in the money for the parks, in the New York Forward. We have no
Whether they
idea
repair
what they're
the
gonna
fields
do,
or not,
but
they
it's
can't
not
go
a
away.
paved, it's not gonna be a paved road. So it's not gonna affect New York Forward at all. I wanna deal with the safety of the people that are in there. They need another way to get
I
out in
think
an
the
emergency.
people that are in there are in more danger by putting the road right through the middle of 2 ball fields.
We can agree to disagree.
Is Steve Rossi still here? Steve, can you just give us a rundown of the numbers of kids that pass through that area?
My name is Steve Rossi. I am the president of the Little League. On an average basis, this year, we had, in the spring, over 400 players. That's registered players. That's not counting siblings, family members, and any team that comes into your village from our potty neighbors, which would be Town of Wallkill, City of Middletown, Minnesink, Goshen, Chester, Town of Newburgh, and Wallkill area. So at any time, besides our 400 registered players that are inside this park, there's an additional 100 to 200 other players outside of this village coming in with family, siblings, other relatives coming to watch them. At any part of the day, I bet you there's probably 700 people in the park when those games are going on, especially if we have all 5 fields being used. We already lost, I'm gonna approximate 65 feet from the outfield fence going into field 5 by 150 feet approximately of field space to the pickleball courts, which cuts down on 2 divisions that play on that field, junior team and the senior team. Those fields have to have a minimum fence of 300 feet. We lost 65 feet in right field. In depth, going out 150 feet approximately. Putting a road between fields 3 and 4, we lose that additional green space, the grassy area, for our players and the neighboring towns to come in here and warm up. There's not enough space in the park when all the fields are being used. And teams, when they come here to play games, and there's other games going on, they don't have adequate space to go and warm up. They use that space between those 2 fields all the time. We just had a game here Saturday against, it was Middletown. And I can tell you there was more than a dozen kids in that area playing wiffle ball with the kids from Middletown. So, putting a road through there, I understand you're trying to say that it's an egress. It's more of a liability towards our membership of the Little League and safety of parents, siblings, players, all of that, because there's family members that sit on the outside of those fences in that area between field 4 and field 3. And like Steve said, having 6 or 8 feet between a road and a fence where there's games being played is dangerous to our players and their families. Like I said, we have on a consistent basis in the spring, roughly 400 registered applicants. During the fall, that number drops down to roughly 200 to 250. But we also still have all of those other towns coming in at the same time to play games against us. So it's not just that we're down on membership overall, we're still bringing other teams in and playing.
And I want to add one more point. The usage, back in the day, we would practice at all the elementary schools.
Yeah.
Liability insurance has made that not a possibility anymore. So the only space for these kids to practice when games are going on, this is one of the 2 spaces. That is it. You're literally cutting off for anybody to be able to practice in the middle of the games. To me, this is a ridiculous idea, but I understand you were trying for safety. I'm just saying I don't think we're considering the entire issue and how many kids this will impact.
I think overall, for the whole year, I would guess we're probably somewhere around 1,000, people that come into the village from our Little League
And that
games.
brings a lot of business.
Anybody have questions? I might be able to answer you guys, on our part of the Little League.
You were not made aware of this at all?
No, I was not. I was down repairing the batting cage for the Little League, and the village DPW guys were in there cutting trees down, and I was like, oh, maybe they're dead trees. That's what I thought. Then I came back the next day, and there was a huge path cut through the tree line. And I went, okay, it wasn't dead trees. What's going on? But the Little League was never notified about a road going in there. I understand it's
Just an extension
it's
of
not
the street
a-
that's already there, it's not a new road.
But
an
it's
extension
called
of the
Marion
street that's
Court,
already there.
so
Yeah.
court is not an extended road, it's a court. And we took away the end without, I didn't know anything about it, did you?
Always meant to be.
I did not know anything about it, no, so this is new information.
I understand, it's a village park and we use the park as a Little League. But as the representative for the Little League, I think, it would have been nice to know that something like that was going in so we could voice our opinion. That's why I'm here, so I can voice on behalf of the Little League the opinion of us and the danger that it poses to our membership. Thank you, I appreciate everybody listening.
Mark, were you able to find out any information from the DEC about whether this was approved for?
Well, no, I didn't even call because you asked about endangered species, and without knowing what it was cut down and what was there before, I have no idea what would happen. So I can't, like, you know, if I knew what it looked like before, or what trees were there, what was planted there, what was growing there, I would have a better handle on it. But
The reason I called Mark, and the concern that I had was, the DEC was never notified that we were going to be removing trees. You can't just clear cut without, that close to the river, without getting an approval. So I'm very worried about how many different rules we've broken by just ripping a whole bunch of trees out and not planning for its irrigation removal. There's, like I said, an 8-foot tall path of dirt exposing roots to the next 7 or 8 trees, which could easily fall as soon as they get a nice storm and they have weakened roots.
you can have erosion issues if it's not handled properly. I don't, you know, when I went down there, I took pictures, and you can also, I mean, there are endangered species, this, you know, spotted owl, you know, bat. But again, I don't know if I honestly don't know if one tree was taken down or 20, and I can't go by what other people, you know.
Right.
So I can't tell you what was taken down, what type of tree, or what was there before, so I can't.
I would like to make a motion to cease and desist this road, and hopefully someone.
Or you have until further investigation.
I just have a couple questions. Upon further investigation of who? Who's investigating, and what are they investigating?
Were you asking me that question? Well, then, ask. I didn't know, the last time you looked at me and were talking, I said, are you talking to me? You said, no, Cynthia, so I wasn't sure who you were talking to.
Darlene, the mic.
Who's investigating and what are they investigating? Can you just clarify?
Right at this point, I'm going through all the back minute books because I have an idea of what year that the motion was made for this street. to
What
go
year
all the
do you
way
think it
through.
was? I'm asking, I'm not trying to be, I don't know anything about it except what I saw, so I just have a couple questions.
It used to be a driveway. When the brick house was first built, it was just a driveway. But then when the 2 houses went in the back, they needed a way to get in. So the village took it over.
Okay,
And it was the intent to make it a through street.
so we're talking
So
about
I just-
50s, 60s,
No, no, no,
70s,
no, no, no.
80s?
80s, 90s. That's where I am right now in the minutes book.
And so who instructed the DPW to start work on it? And who instructed the DPW to start work on it is the first question.
You can put me down for that.
Okay, and so why was there no communication with the board or with the interested parties, the camp and the senior center and the Little League?
Because it was for me, it was a safety issue, and that was of utmost importance.
So
was a
for
safety issue.
solving a safety issue, why wouldn't we make sure to put it out there?
Were the residents ever given a chance to
That was my
speak
next question.
about their port being all of a sudden a through street?
There's only 2 residents on.
Well, there's only so many on Bridge Street, but we have them come and discuss their concerns about the things that go on at this park. So for consistency, were they notified, did they have any feedback?
But not there.
And then if the intent is not for it to be paved ever, or just not right now?
Well, we don't, until we know what New York Forward is doing.
Okay, so when we were discussing, and this is not, I'm not for it or against it, I don't know enough about it, and I wasn't on the board in the 80s, so, and it's keeping kids safe versus, we're talking about kids at the park, no matter which side of the fence we're on, so it shouldn't be an issue that becomes a political issue, so I'm just asking some questions. When we were discussing the difference between a type 2 action at the last meeting and what's the next type that would involve a comprehensive traffic study? We couldn't change all of the speed limits throughout the road because that would require a comprehensive traffic study. So I'm wondering if any of this would be part of a comprehensive traffic study. Yes, we may need another egress out of the park. However, how does that affect the traffic flow at Bridge Street and Clinton Street? how does that affect the traffic flow down Taft and Elizabeth? Are more people gonna come out of Elizabeth? What does that look like on the end of 17K? These are things that I don't know, I'm not an engineer. So I think we discussed the need at the last meeting for a comprehensive traffic study. And the other understanding I have is that anything that's done within the New York Forward project can be, again, utilized as the match for a grant to make it more money, and it also can be reimbursed. But anything that this village does up into that point is not reimbursable. So I'm just wondering why, when we knew we had park money, why it wasn't a consideration to do a full-blown comprehensive traffic study of the area to address all of these things all together and to not pay for it. Why did we have to start work on it right now, and why did we not talk to anybody about it? And was the fire department discussed? Were they notified? And did they have any feedback?
Also, the last plan I saw when you were forward had those ball fields still being there. If we put a road through the middle and they need to refurbish it, that's gonna undermine the ability of the grow sod. Anytime you add rock and gravel and
We don't know anything about the New York Forward plan. We know
Right,
it's
so my
changed
point is,
drastically.
if we're this close, and this thing was from the 80s, why did we pick now to start it?
Is the intention for it to be a village street?
Yeah.
And does that in itself
It's
trigger
already
a
a village
comprehensive traffic study?
It stops.
What's that?
Is the extension of the street and the addition of an egress or an exit to a park, is that in itself enough to trigger the need for a traffic study? When we have cut a driveway on 17K or on 208, you have to talk to the DOT about it. I understand it's not a state road, but it triggers studies and considerations that have to be done for what that affects, how that affects the next thing and the next thing, right?
For a village road, it's really gonna boil down to DPW's opinion on, much like stop signs, whether it's necessary, whether it's not necessary. Doesn't necessarily trigger comprehensive stuff. Can, but it's not mandatory.
Is the board in the power of saying no?
What's that?
If the board votes, are we in the power of saying no?
Yeah.
I make a motion that we say no to this road.
I'll second it.
Let's get the terminology right. It's not a road, it's a continuation of the street that's already there.
I make a recommendation that we don't continue this.
Okay, it's been seconded for discussion, so there's no requirement when we're doing something like that to have a public meeting, public hearing?
No, it's not on the agenda this evening, so you may want to do a little further investigation before this motion is, right now, there's no further work going on.
And the building inspector would like to come and speak about it.
Darlene, you're not talking to them.
We don't need to, if we don't make a motion on it tonight, then we'll have a chance to have the DPW come in and the building inspector, who both have opinions about it.
And what about the village engineer? The building inspector, respectfully, the building inspector and the DPW superintendent, neither one of them are traffic engineers.
Didn't Will just say if the DPW said it's necessary, then we have to get their opinion, right?
I didn't say I don't want their opinion, I'm saying can we also have the opinion of maybe the planning or zoning board and or in conjunction with the village engineer? That would make
It's not
sense.
the zoning board.
No.
You want to have the engineer, as the engineer?
Okay, Scott.
What about the environmental impact? I just looked at the satellite map and it looked like quite a bit of stuff, more than what I thought.
Time the trees are removed.
There's more than I thought. Sorry.
We have a motion on the floor, so we have to take a vote, and
I will rescind my motion
okay,
and wait for a more thorough investigation.
okay, so we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
And I'll pull it in last week.
Stop work orders.
Very good, stop. Okay, let's go to the public portion. Anybody got any questions or anything?
Public portion.
We have anybody wants to speak during the public portion?
What?
Oh, gentlemen. Didn't bring that thing up. I heard that.
Fred Floyd, Toddtown Road, Town of Montgomery. Apologize for my voice. Good evening.
Fred, I'm gonna start this so we can be fair, okay?
Okay. I'd like to address 3 objectives, 6 rules, otherwise known as the Village of Montgomery meeting rules of decorum, as it could have, or more appropriately stated, should have pertained to the last meeting. This was policy, which in early 2025, the village board passed with a unanimous 5-0 vote. It begins with a definition of decorum, which reads as follows: behavior that is socially correct, calm, dignified, and polite. I ask you to weigh those words, calm, dignified, and polite, against the behavior all of us observe by some speakers on and off the agenda, as well as in the background at the last meeting. Policy goes on to list objectives, which read as follows: to establish basic behavioral rules and ensure order and respect. Consider those words, order and respect. Enabling village government to conduct public business in an open, safe, and transparent fashion. 2, the citizens of this village may be fully aware of and observe the performance of public officials and the deliberations that continue to the making of public policy. Now, the nuts and bolts of the policy. Entitled Rules. Rule 1, which I will address, reads as follows: the mayor or presiding officer, at your last meeting, that was the deputy mayor, shall convene the village board promptly at the hour for the convening of the village board, and shall preserve order and decorum. There's that word again. Order. Preserve order. It should be noted, this responsibility in your own policy is clearly vested in the presiding officer, not Mr. Frank, the village attorney. So I have some simple questions. Was this process followed at your last meeting? If not, why not? Is there some reason why some speakers' comments were allowed to occur outside the parameters of the policy you wrote? Is your policy applied consistently and uniformly? The family and friends of the board, consultants, trustees, advisors, or whoever get a free pass. Over the past 2 weeks, I asked a number of people what they thought of the meeting decorum on October 7th. Here is a synopsis of their impressions: argumentative, antagonistic, accusatory, contemporary, entitled, targeted, orchestrated to embarrass, frenzied, bullied, disrespectful, embarrassed to watch. Remember your definition of decorum that I read into the record a minute ago: calm, dignified, polite, hearty. So in closing, I'd like to ask one final question. If the raucous, disrespectful behavior everyone witnessed from some of the speakers at the last meeting did not violate your rules of decorum, then what behavior would? Fortunately, and again, as you approved unanimously early this year, you have a policy to guide you into the future. It's simply a matter of having the will and the resolve to use it. Please do. Thank you.
I'm gonna start your time now.
Hello, everyone, board, everybody. Unfortunately, I've missed the past couple meetings, and I was in flight coming home when this meeting that Fred just talked about was in process. And when I got home, my phone was ringing off the hook that I must watch this meeting, and I did. And I can't tell you how disgusted I was watching this meeting. It was just horrible. So to further the rules of decorum, the mayor shall recognize council members for the purpose of debate of any question under consideration. In order, members have requested recognition. Number 3, scheduled speakers from the audience shall address the village board as a whole in an orderly manner and shall not address the audience without authorization from the mayor. On the village website, Village of Montgomery, rules of public participation, rule number 7 that you guys agreed upon and approved is members of the village board, speakers, and audience members must observe the village meeting rules of decorum. any statement made during a meeting or during a public hearing by the mayor, members of the village board, village officials, or employees, or members of the general public shall not involve personal, impertinent, or slanderous attacks on individuals. Now, what I seen at that meeting was slanderous. The attack on a board member was outrageous. What I was troubled by the whole thing was a few things that were stated. The issues that a person in the audience was talking about was supposed to be confidential information. How did she get that information? I believe there should be an investigation as to how she got that information. Just so happens to be Mr. Henbury's daughter. It was funny that, not funny, I'm sad, that it was members of the mayor's family that was outrageous here that day, and a former trustee to this board that was shouting things out. Now, we went through this quite a while ago about the audience, and I've said over and over again that things from the audience have calmed down. But obviously, things from the board have not. It's escalated. And it seems that certain people that came here, there had to be a plan to it because it was very strange how it all went down. And I think that, unfortunately for the deputy mayor, you were in charge. And I feel bad for you, as I feel bad for Will, to be in that seat and to take that crap. Thank you.
James Kiernan, Angelo Drive, Montgomery, New York. Rule number 4. All speakers, including the mayor and village board members, shall refrain from partisan political commentary, personal, impertinent, slanderous, or profane remarks directed at any member of the board, staff, or general public that disrupt the meeting. Any person who makes remarks or otherwise disrupts the meeting with loud outbursts, shouting, threats, or other disruptive conduct shall, at the direction of the mayor or deputy mayor, or after a motion and majority consents to the board, be ruled out of order, which is to serve as a warning. After receiving a warning, any person who persists in disrupting the meeting, the mayor or the village board majority shall have the discretion to order that person to leave, and may utilize law enforcement to enforce such if necessary. Rule 5, the village attorney shall act as a parliamentarian to assist with procedural questions upon the request of any member of the village board. I unfortunately was also at the meeting 2 weeks ago, and as many residents felt, and many residents felt in this room, we all saw and heard what we saw and heard. None of us were comfortable with it. I think Mr. Berger did a good job explaining who was doing what, but in a way we were all complicit that night, either by acting in a certain way or not acting to say we should be doing this, we should stop. I also feel bad for the deputy mayor. I also feel bad for the attorney that has to deal with this. I went home really upset. I couldn't believe that residents had no problem personally attacking 2 trustees. I couldn't believe that a former trustee who actually voted for all these decorum rules actually ran from his house, got down here to be able to shout out things at the trustee. And I was also yelling, to be honest. And other people were yelling because it got really emotional. And the worst part was really seeing how some people looked like they liked it. They were all ganging up and doing it, and I don't want that tone for our village. I've been preaching about this for 1.5 years with everyone. This tone is not going to get us anywhere. These energies are not going to get us anywhere. All this wasted, negative, destructive, polarizing energy is doing nothing for our community and really hurting the ones carrying, nourishing, and fostering this type of energy. I do have mercy for them, but they really don't know what they're doing. And there's a lot of anger and resentment to carry on for that. I don't envy them, but they need to follow the rules of decorum as we all do. I implore all of you to be the love and kindness this village needs, and to publicly stand against those behaviors and impulses that lead to darker paths.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert Allen, 1 Pine Court. At the August 19th meeting, Mr. Frank said to me, quote, "No one here is held accountable unless the board decides, not you." Mr. Frank apparently opposes accountability in government. What other government members are immune to accountability in this world? The police, the DPW, the village attorney, who else? Did you ever consider you broadcasting this attitude as the reason why some board members act the way they do? You have been believing that they are immune to accountability. This is insane. Mr. Frank, why didn't you advise the board that their rules for decorum include violations of the First Amendment, instead of trying to enforce those so-called rules? Mr. Frank should understand that words cannot violate decorum, only actions can. The government has no right to force free people to use or not use words or express personal viewpoints or opinions. If we find ourselves with a lawyer telling citizens that we are not allowed to speak to our concerns directly to individual board members, the Supreme Court disagrees. I have case law here if you'd like to read. The mayor signed a contract with Montgomery Little League after getting permission from the board and the recommendation of Mr. Frank. On page 1 it reads, whereas the organization registered 501c3 with the IRS entity and the village have enjoyed a 70-year partnership and so on. Mr. Frank, what steps did you take to verify that Montgomery Little League is a 501c3 entity? I used the search term Little League for New York State on the IRS website, and there were 370 responses, and none of those 370 were Montgomery. Just to be clear, I'm not criticizing Little League. I simply want to know if you checked that through some other method. A couple of meetings ago, there was some suggestion by Trustee Briani that issues of discounting or giving free rent access to the senior center may be illegal, and the board had to look further into it. Mr. Frank, why is this a question that you would be able to answer? Why are we relying on a trustee to research this? Either it's illegal and you sat there while the board did this illegal act repeatedly for years and said nothing, or it's not illegal, and you should have said as much right there on the spot, instead of letting this issue carry on for weeks now, which, by the way, contributed to the loss of one of our Christmas events, so far to the location of Montgomery. For these reasons, among many others, the village ought to find new legal representation, which should also pertain to Mr. McKay. It's a long time coming for this village board to have unconflicted legal advisors disconnected from previous administrations, thus giving us a clean start. Now to the board as a whole. Public service is not for everyone. I can tell you that at least 2 of you, this is not for you. You either lack proper temperament, coping skills, the ability to do simple math, or are motivated by ego, vendetta, and narcissism. Instead of participating in what should be an uneventful and uncomplicated mission of assisting in management of village business, you want to function as authoritarians with power and control over people. None of you sitting up here have authority over anyone, not a single person. The police don't even have authority over anyone unless, at a minimum, the legal standard of proof called reasonable suspicion is present. As I've said before, no one answers to you, you have authority over no one, and you need to recognize your limits as managing board members and not tyrants. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Walter Hookey, 99 Union Street. I'm also here to speak on behavior of the public at the October 7th meeting and the board's inability or unwillingness to counter the chaos. And these rules of decorum state that they must take care of that. I'll use some of my time to read the meeting rules of decorum, rule number 6, and the amendment section. The proper commentary, debates, and arguments initiated by the village board members during public meetings or during requests to address the board are prohibited. Village board members who expand their comments during the public comment portion, also known as requests to meet with the board, beyond the simple statement of questions, comments, and relevant opinions, may be ruled out of order by the mayor after a motion and majority consensus by the board. So the board has the ability as well. The amendments and coverage rules of order, this is a legalese of it, but we're all reading it all, so we should all be reminded of these rules in their entirety. because I really looked on the website and I couldn't find them. So I'm not sure who was responsible back in February to put them on the website, but they really are not there. These rules shall not be rescinded, altered, or amended, nor shall any additional rule be added hereto, except by majority vote of the total members of the Montgomery Village Board, and only after at least 1 week's final notice filed with the village clerk. On all points of order not governed by the rules of the Montgomery Village Board, Robert's Rules of Order shall prevail. So that's the end of that, end quote. I do hope that the board requires that anyone going to training, anyone getting elected, is given a copy of Robert's Rules of Orders. I'm in the bookstore for a while, I have a copy if anyone wants to borrow it. I use the term "our" as these rules belong to all of us. So if you're required to enforce them, you're required to behave. And behave is a word that a former trustee used, and he initiated a lot of this. So one of the other points is, why do you as a board disregard these rules and not enforce them when you work so hard to create them in the village hall before we move here? I think we should all agree that village employees and board members should be held to a higher standard. There was members of other village boards that were also speaking out of the rules of decorum at that last meeting. So I'm asking, and I don't expect an answer now, but I will follow up, and I think the board as a whole should give some kind of update on the old business at the next meeting, why we're under these rules that exist and were voted on, why they're not enforced, why were no motions made, tell someone to stop, tell someone they're out of order, to give warnings, and again, there's responsibility for the acting mayor and for the attorney and for all the village board members to enforce that, just as we have responsibility to behave.
Hi, Stacy Hillman, East Searsville, Montgomery. I just have a question. I mean, I wasn't here at the last meeting. I did watch it. I agree. Crazy. Nuts. But I think we're all making a big issue out of, the rules and all that stuff and how it was wrong. No one's asking the obvious question. We, 2 people, the mayor's 2 daughters, whatever, received letters against them for calling, if it's true, for allegedly calling someone an asshole or for giving someone the finger. I don't think there's a person in this room that hasn't either been called it, told it, done it, or anything. Why are we entertaining this? Why is our attorney getting involved, and why are we paying by the hour for this? Because somebody mouthed through the window, asshole? I mean, come on, guys. We're all talking about, oh, it's not right. Why isn't it right? First of all, as an elected official, grow some, or have some thicker skin. Because people are going to say things that they don't like. That's the way it goes. I mean, look at our national politics. You can call people whatever you want to call them, apparently. So I don't understand why we're making such a huge issue out of this. And the best part is they're not employees. They weren't even employed when this happened. And you know what? I'm glad that it got out. However it did get out, I'm glad it did. Because the fact that a board member up here went after someone's job is disgraceful. Because they've been called an asshole. When that same person has been accused of all. I'm a board member, okay?
Hey, Steve, nobody else wants to.
So on a happier note, some of you that grew up here before me know of the Antique Art Show, which is now called the Holiday Craft Fair that happens at Valley Central. I'm part of the Valley Central Scholarship Board, and I just wanted to put my glasses on so I could actually read it. Saturday, November 22nd, from 10 to 3 at Valley Central High School. That will be the Holiday Craft Fair. Those of you that participated, last year we gave $40,000 in scholarships out. It's one of our main fundraisers. We got admission is $5 for adults, $3 for kids and seniors, and kids under 5 are free. So hopefully we get to see everybody there, and thank you for being polite tonight.
motion to
We
go into?
don't need a motion to go into attorney-client.
Are we gonna do anything that we have to come back as and vote on? Then we can adjourn.
It's up to,
I don't know what it's about, so.
okay.
Is there anything that we're gonna have to vote on? Yes.
Yes.
Something that we're gonna have to vote on? So that means we have to. Okay, we're gonna go to attorney.
We're going into attorney-client, we did not adjourn.
Thanks for coming, guys.
for your patience.
We're ready to resume?
Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Before we adjourn, I'd like to make a motion to take steps to determine whether confidential information of the village has been improperly disseminated,
And to report those steps back to the board.
and to report those steps back to the board.
Second.
Amen? Call roll.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn.